When we think of mummies, we immediately picture ancient Egyptian pharaohs, golden tombs, and grand museum exhibits protected by heavy security. We view them as sacred historical artifacts that belong to ancient history. But if you could travel back in time to Europe during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, you would discover a dark and deeply disturbing secret that history books usually try to hide. For nearly 500 years, human mummies weren't just studied in Europe. They were actively bought, sold, and literally eaten by millions of people as a popular medical treatment. This terrifying and bizarre trend began due to a massive linguistic misunderstanding. Ancient doctors in Persia used a natural black substance called mumia, which was a type of mineral bitumen found in rocks, to heal wounds and fix broken bones. However, when European traders traveled to Egypt and saw the blackened, resin-covered bodies of preserved pharaohs, they mistakenly thought these bodies were covered in that exact same magical, healing substance. Soon, the word mumia shifted from meaning a rare mineral to meaning an actual dead human body, and almost overnight, a massive, highly profitable black market erupted across the European continent. Royal physicians, local pharmacists, and traveling doctors began prescribing powdered human corpse as a cure for almost every illness under the sun. If you had a terrible headache, a stomach ulcer, internal bleeding, or even bruises from a fall, the standard medical advice was to take a spoonful of ground-up mummy dust mixed with a glass of wine or chocolate. From poor peasants in London to the royal courts of French kings, everyone was regularly consuming human remains, firmly believing they were drinking the ultimate life force of the ancient world. Demand became so insanely high that Egyptian tombs were systematically looted, and ships packed with thousands of dead bodies were regularly arriving at European ports. But as the centuries passed and ancient Egyptian mummies started running out, the story took a much darker turn. The traders, desperate to keep making money from this highly lucrative business, couldn't just stop. They began creating fake mummies. Pharmacists and grave robbers would steal the fresh bodies of executed criminals, people who died of horrific diseases in hospitals, or even deceased travelers. They would dry the fresh flesh in ovens, fill the cavities with cheap asphalt and herbs, wrap them in linen, and bury them in the sun until they looked thousands of years old. Europeans were no longer just consuming ancient pharaohs. They were regularly eating the powdered remains of local criminals and plague victims, completely unaware of the horrifying truth. This mass medical cannibalism didn't officially stop until the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when modern science finally proved that eating dried human corpses had absolutely zero medical value and was actually spreading dangerous infections. Today, thousands of priceless historical mummies that could have taught us everything about ancient civilizations are completely gone, forever destroyed because they were digested by European society. It makes you wonder about the darker side of human progress. When we look back at the horrifying things our ancestors did in the name of science and health, it forces us to look at ourselves today. What completely normal medical treatment or daily habit are we doing right now that will make future generations look back at us with absolute horror and disgust? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.